And look, I'm not saying that I want you going around kicking and hurting other people. I'm not saying that at all. And you guys came back and you explained the reason why you kicked, because you called me a brat. Now, do you see how that actually shows a lot of maturity, that you let him know what was not okay with you? And, at that point, when your kid is really not expecting that you're giving them an attaboy in this moment, well, bam, you've got them in their thinking brain. They're really going to be absorbing everything you're about to teach them, right? Boom. You've surprised them. They're not expecting this. My name is Randy Rubenstein, and welcome to the Mastermind Parenting Podcast. At Mastermind Parenting, we're on a mission to support strong-willed kids and the families that love them. You're listening to the Mastermind Parenting Podcast with Randy Rubenstein, and welcome to the show. Well, hi guys. How are you today? Today, I want to talk about a mom that recently shared a story with me in our Mastermind Parenting group. She was at the park. It was just like a weekend. She was with her 3 boys. She was there just hanging out, and her boys were, playing at the park. She wasn't hovering. They were just all over. And another mom came over to her to report that the mastermind mom's son had kicked the reporting mom's son. She's like, your kid just kicked my kid. My kid just came over and told me that your kid kicked my kid. And then the reporting mom paused and said nothing. And she wasn't exactly friendly about the whole situation. And my masterminder could feel the reporting mom's judgment and negativity, when you just feel it. It's like the energy is just intense, and anyway. So how does this situation typically turn out? Not good. Not good. Usually, like, we've got butthurt adults, right? Like nothing ever good comes from that. It's like dukes up, right? Because it's like a pissing match is going to end up happening, where everyone is sort of defending their kid rather than helping the kids resolve the conflict and learn something in the process. I've even seen it where the adults are trying to act very adult-like, but you can just feel the tension. And as they say, 77% of communication is nonverbal. So even when adults are trying to behave very adult-like, you just can tell that, it might be something like, well, something must have happened right before. Like we start to ask the other adult questions, right? And you just know it's just going to go down not a good path. It's just not. But that's not what happened this time. That's not what happened this time. Okay. So this is how my masterminder handled the situation. And this was her recap. So the recap, okay, so the reporting mom approaches and says, your son kicked my son. And then she pauses with an unfriendly look on her face. And my mastermind mom says, well, immediately, she's like, well, that's not okay. Let's get them together for a talk right now. This is serious stuff. Let's have them talk to each other, right? Like she kind of had that, like, whoa, like this is serious. She didn't get defensive. She just believed this mom and said, we got to do something. Let's get them together for a talk. And the reporting mom said, oh, okay. Let's let them talk to each other. Like this was the wildest idea that she's ever heard of, to actually have the children talk to each other about what just happened between the 2 little humans. Like crazy idea. And like, I think this is pretty typical. So often, like we jump in and we're handling the situation and talking about it, defending our kid, and we sort of miss the point, right? it's like, it's like, it's just so amazing how something where we really kind of break it down, it's like, it can be so much simpler. It can be so much simpler. So the two moms go and they quickly corral the boys and they get them together. And the reporting mom's son says, why'd you kick me? And the masterminder's son says, why'd you call me a brat? And the first boy says, well, why'd you kick me? And the other one says, why'd you call me a brat? And this went on back and forth a few more times until finally the mastermind mom says, well, looks like they talked it out. And the reporting mom says, yep. And the mastermind mom says, sounds like they've said their piece. And then the other reporting mom said, yep. And they said it a lot of times. Have a great day. And both moms just kind of chuckled and smiled at each other, and everyone moved on, right? Everyone moved on. And you might be sitting there saying, but wait, but don't we need it? Like that's not okay. Don't they need to know that that's not okay? You can't call people names and you can't kick people. But here's the thing. The boys were held accountable by this little conversation, right? This little conversation. The boys were held accountable. Think about it. You know, to have to come and face the music and face the other person that you've just had a conflict with. I mean, even as adults, how often are we doing that? Right? So often we're like going and telling someone else what the person did to us. But to go back and face to face say, well, you did this and you did this and you did this, right? Just that little bit of accountability of them coming back together. There was powerful teaching that went on in there and in that exchange, even though many of the adults might want it all wrapped up in a nice, neat bow. You know, the boys learned something from that. They learned that you got to face the music when you show up and do something wrong, right? I guarantee you that from this exchange, they learned way more than if the adults had them give forced apologies that they didn't even mean, right? That they didn't even mean. And if the boys had lessons in that moment forced down their throats because each mom was wanting to prove that she was the kind of mom that wouldn't allow this kind of behavior, and she would want to be seen by the other mom, that, it's like it could have so easily turned into something so much bigger. But the boys said their piece. The adults stood by and made sure things didn't escalate. And it remained totally a kid issue, right? It was an issue between the boys. The boys owned it. They explained in their kid way why each of them were upset. They got it off their chests and they moved on. It didn't need to be more than that. So how often do we overcomplicate things because we're embarrassed or defensive for something our kid did or something that was done to them? When we intervene from that place, right? That place of us being hurt, us being embarrassed, us being defensive, we almost always make the situation worse. So if you have the strong-willed kid who tends to be the herder, right? The herder is the kid that hurts other people when they get upset. Okay. So my mastermind mom, her kid in this situation was the physical herder, and the reporting mom's kid was the verbal herder. They were both herders in this moment. So what would the herder tell you if they had the words to express what was really going on? They would say, I'm hurting inside and I don't have the skills to calm myself down. So I have this pattern where I take out my pain on other people. I think many of us know adults like this, right? So I don't have the skills. I act on the outside the way I'm feeling on the inside. I take my pain out on other people because I don't know how to express it any other way. And the herder, they know it's wrong. right? What they would tell you is I know it's wrong, but I don't know what else to do when I feel like this, and I need other people to know. And the reason the hurting pattern is here is because it works to involve other people as a way to temporarily escape and distract myself from how hurt I feel inside. And I don't have the skills to express that hurt. So the hurting kid has learned that taking out their hurt on other people is what they do when they don't know any other way to tell you, right? To tell you how they're feeling inside. Hey, podcast listeners, I want to invite you to spend an intensive virtual week with me to learn my N.I.C.E framework live to transform strong-willed kids and take back control of your life. You're going to learn how to change your household in a way that empowers you and your kids. You're going to gain respect from your strong-willed child. You're going to run your household without the chaos, get back more time for yourself, help your kids improve socially at home and at school, and feel so confident that you're absolutely not screwing them up. You're going to make this strong-willedness thing a thing of the past. So don't miss out. Grab your seat. Join me for Coach Week Live. It's going to be powerful. You don't want to miss out. If you've been listening to the podcast, I want to get to know you, and I want to show you what parent coaching is all about and how we take the learning and we weave it into real life scenarios. And this is how the learning happens on steroids. This is how you're truly going to be able to change habits and patterns, and most importantly, impact the life of your child. So sign up at mastermindparenting.com/Coach Week. The link is in the show notes. I cannot wait for you to join me. And how does the herder learn the right skills, right, to stop taking their internal hurt out on other people? How do they learn this? Well, if we look at the example from this park story, how would the herder learn? Well, later on, the mastermind mom would, and I coached her on this, would talk to her kid at a non-relevant time, out of the moment, right? We're not at the park anymore. We're not in the situation. We're back at home. It's a non-relevant time. And it might sound something like, hey, today at the park, you and that other little boy and your son might be ready for a lesson, ready for a lecture. He might be like feeling defensive. And you're not going to do that. What you're going to do is you're going to say, you guys really showed a lot of maturity. The way you guys, came back face to face and told each other what was, he said, you kicked me, and you said, you called me a brat, right? Like, you guys came back, and in front of the moms, you let the other kid know what was upset, what had upset you. And look, I'm not saying that I want you going around kicking and hurting other people. I'm not saying that at all. And you guys came back and you explained the reason why you kicked, because you called me a brat. Now, do you see how that actually shows a lot of maturity, that you let him know what was not okay with you? And, at that point, when your kid is really not expecting that you're giving them an attaboy in this moment, well, bam, you've got them in their thinking brain. They're really going to be absorbing everything you're about to teach them, right? Boom. You've surprised them. They're not expecting this. And if your child starts to talk, anything they say in this moment, you're just like, your kid might say something like, her kid might say something like, yeah, he was calling me a brat and I wasn't even doing anything. I was just playing next to him. And next thing you know, he was calling me a brat and I didn't deserve that. And in that moment, you're not going to say, well, but it's never okay to kick. You're going to say, oh, you just mirror back. Okay. He really, he was calling you. Yeah, no, that's not cool. No, of course you didn't like that. Oh, you were just climbing on the thing next to it. You weren't even bothering him. You just repeat back whatever it is that your child's saying. This is the productive conversation. You see their perspective. Hey, today you expressed what had happened that led to the kick. That is your child's perspective. You then actively listen. If your child starts telling you more of the story, you just mirror back everything they're saying. And then when you problem solve together, you're going to say, and here's the thing. Obviously, I don't want you going around when people do uncool things to you like that. I want you to, you showed a lot of maturity today. And I want you to let other people know with your words, like, not okay. Not okay to call me a brat. Not okay to call me rude names. I don't like it. I don't like when you say that, right? If you have a problem, if you want me to do something different, you can ask me. It's not cool to name call. Like, I want you to be able to say those things because you're better than kicking, right? You're better than that. How can I help you to remember that when someone says or does something that is not okay with you and hurts your feelings and makes you upset inside, that you can let them know and use your words as such a big boy and just communicate that something isn't cool with you, right? How can you remember to do that? And then you pause, right? You want your child to start to think and problem solve. And they might be stumped. And you might say, I believe in you. You're better than this, right? Why don't we practice right now? Okay. Practice right now. Okay. You want to be the name caller or the one being called the name? And I'll be the other kid. Okay. Which one do you want to be? And then you role play. Okay. I'll be you and you be the name caller. Right. So call me a brat. Call me a brat. And then I'm going to say, whoa, why are you calling me names? If you have a problem with something I'm doing, please tell me. I don't like it when you call me names. It's not cool. Right? Okay, now let's practice and let's do it the other way. I'll call you a brat and then you tell me what, that it wasn't okay with you rather than kick me. Do you see how this is this is the part that most of us are missing? Like, this is where we teach the skills at a non-relevant time in a productive way that our kids can actually hear and learn from, right? And learn from. I mean, productive conversations, and just as a recap for anyone who hasn't heard me teach this 5,000 times, SAP, see their perspective, actively listen, problem solve together, how to master empathy without being a sap. Empathy is the way we learn to communicate and resolve conflicts. It only works every single time. Okay. So I want you guys to join me at something cool that I'm doing coming up very soon. And I cover this and several other things. I'm going to be hosting a Coach Week live event. Okay. This is going to be a live event for a week. We're going to have a challenge and I'm going to teach you my N.I.C.E framework, including what I just went over, which is in my C wing of the N.I.C.E framework. That's my communicate wing, where I teach you how to be a better communicator so that you can teach your kids how to be better communicators. And they are going to stop feeling like they have to show people how they feel with hurting behavior, right? We're going to teach them how to communicate in a civilized way, in a peaceful way, in a way that they're able to feel empowered and stand up for themselves to resolve conflicts. Because guess what? There's lots of conflicts that we all deal with in life. And can you imagine if every single child especially the strong-willed ones, learned how to resolve conflict and learned how to be better communicators, like, honestly, I think the whole world would change. So I'm going to be teaching this in the C wing of my N.I.C.E framework, along with the other 3 steps. And this is your roadmap to transform your strong-willed kids and change their life. This will change their life and yours. And yours. Okay. So at Coach Week Live, we're going to be having a week-long challenge, and you're going to learn how to take back control of your household in a way that empowers you and your kids by learning the skill, the productive conversation skill, and so much more. You're going to gain respect from your strong-willed child. I mean, think about it. Think about the mom I just talked about. Like, after that park incident, if she wraps up the day with that kind of a productive conversation, you think that kid is going to go to bed feeling angry, misunderstood, like no one has their back? Or do you think that kid is going to feel so loved and supported, right? That is going to gain the respect of your kid when you support your kid in that way. You're going to start to run your household without the chaos. You're going to get back more time for yourself. You're going to help your kids improve socially, at home, at the park, at school. You're going to start to feel so much more confident that you're absolutely not screwing up your kids. You're going to make this whole strong-willedness a thing of the past. Strong-willed behavior is here for a reason, right? It's calling us to learn more, to learn better tools. Our kids are hurting on the inside, and that's why they're showing up in all these strong-willed ways on the outside. So you don't want to miss this. I don't do these Coach Week Live events very often. So come, sign up, grab your seat, go to mastermindparenting.com/Coach Week. That's mastermindparenting.com/Coach Week. And we're going to put the link in the show notes and sign up. It's $29, and that's all it takes to save your seat. So, look, if in 1 week I can dig in deep with you, teach you my framework, get to know you, coach you live on your specific scenario, and show you how the framework works in your specific scenario, that's where the learning happens on steroids. I'm super excited about this. I really am looking forward, because I know so many of you podcast listeners, y'all have been listening for a while and like maybe years. And I know you feel like you know me. And in these live events, it really is an opportunity for me to get to know you and to help you. And I mean, 1 week, I'll give you all I've got, and you'll see. We'll have so much fun, and you're going to have a whole new understanding of how to have these productive conversations with your kids. So I can't wait to see you. I hope you go grab your seat. And that's what I've got for you this week. Have a great one. Thanks for listening today, guys. I hope you picked up some tips, tools, maybe some baby steps for creating more balance and boundaries in your life. And I just wanted to let you know, if you want to continue moving the needle forward in creating this for yourself, having a happier household, I want you to go to my website and check out mastermindparenting.com. We have 3 beginning programs, and if you need some accountability and more support, then please look for the one that would be a good fit for you. And as always, we're on all the social channels under Mastermind Parenting. On Instagram, it's mastermind_parenting. And, periodically I do pop up on different Instagram lives, Facebook lives, where I give you teaching and coaching, and I love engaging with you live to help you help your strong-willed kids so that they can feel better, because when they feel better, they do better. And I love getting to know you guys. So thanks for listening. If you like this podcast, please don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Super, super appreciative.